Good morning, friends, and welcome to another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. "2019 promises to be one of the most exciting tournament bass seasons that I can remember. Most of you guys know the FLW Tour has already kicked off for the year with a big tournament on Sam Rayburn. Kudos to Terry Bolton for finally getting it done. After decades on the trail and being in the hunt plenty of times, Terry Bolton finally got it done at Sam Rayburn with a monster sack of fish on day 2. The Bassmaster Elite Series kicks off here a couple weeks on the St. Johns River in Florida. But the event that the whole world is waiting to see, the inaugural event of the Pro Bass Tour, starts in less than 72 hours. Any way you look at it, this kickoff event on the Kissimmee chain that starts on Tuesday is a historic event in our sport. It's going to be pretty exciting to watch. There are a lot of guys, including many of you I'm sure, that have mixed emotions about this new trail. And I completely get that. I've been following the BASS trail since 1985. As a teenager, I loved watching Saturday morning fishing shows on TNN. Hank Parker, Orlando Wilson, the In Fisherman. But my absolute favorite was the Bassmasters with Bob Cobb and Ray Scott. I have been following the Bassmaster Trail ever since. I remember that I had a lot of mixed emotions in the late 90s with the launch of the FLW Tour. I was unsure about what it meant for BASS, and that made me pretty uncomfortable. The TV programming that they put together to cover that tour was excellent. It brought a lot of new money into the sport, and ultimately I believe the FLW was good for the sport. When Major League Fishing launched a few years ago, it brought a brand new dynamic to our sport. For the first several decades of professional bass fishing, no matter how many guys we had in the field, we typically only had a camera in the boat of a few anglers. So the TV coverage that we had of those tournaments was pretty limited. Much of that TV coverage was just simply limited to the tournament weigh-in. Major League Fishing brought a brand new dynamic by having a smaller field of anglers, fewer anglers on the water at once, and a camera in the boat of more anglers. So the vast majority of fish catches, if not all the fish catches, were caught on film. This was tournament-style fishing designed to be delivered to you and I, the bass fans. And most would agree that Major League Fishing done a fantastic job of doing just that. So with all of this new bass tournament coverage, why would anybody not be excited about Major League Fishing taking things to the next level? Well, for most guys, the answer is people hate change. Generally speaking, change is pretty uncomfortable. Guys like myself that grew up watching the Bassmaster Trail, appreciating and respecting the Bassmaster Trail, absolutely hate the thought of the Bassmaster Trail going away or becoming less relevant in our sport. However, the older I get, I find the easier it is for me to accept change. I find it's easier to accept change for what it is. Change is inevitable, and oftentimes change is a good thing. Hey guys, leave a comment in the comment box below. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Major League Fishing? Some of the most notable changes that Major League Fishing will bring to our sport is obviously the change in the tournament format. They're kind of resurrecting Ray Scott's old idea of surprise venues. No practice days. A real-time leaderboard in each boat, which adds an interesting dynamic. The most notable change that Major League Fishing has introduced into the sport of bass fishing is the tournament payback structure. Throughout the history of bass fishing, the vast majority of anglers who are considered to be professional anglers have not been able to make a living fishing alone. Only a handful of guys at the top of the sport have been able to make a living fishing, and much of that has more to do with sponsorships than tournament winnings. The Pro Bass Tour, which is an angler-led organization, has completely changed the pay format and how anglers get paid. The anglers fishing with the Pro Bass Tour and Major League Fishing are basically co-owners of the company. The anglers will earn a salary in the form of revenue sharing with Major League Fishing and the Outdoor Channel. That is without question the most revolutionary part of this entire new venture. Unfortunately, at the same time, I fear that it could in fact be the fatal flaw to Major League Fishing. Over the past few months, I've done a lot of research on Major League Fishing and the Pro Bass Tour. I've had an opportunity to have conversations with a few professional anglers. All of the professional anglers that I've been in communication with have agreed that they believe this is an excellent thing for the sport. From a business model, I think it's brilliant too, because it makes the angler 100% invested, and it's in the best interest of the angler for the organization to succeed. All that being said, I still wonder if the organization won't simply collapse under its own weight. The Major League Fishing organization is basically two entities. It's the anglers of the Pro Bass Tour and the Outdoor Channel. The primary concern of both of those entities is creating revenue and ultimately creating profit. So the question is, without entry fees, can Major League Fishing generate enough revenue to support all the expenses of running this trail? According to the Major League Fishing website, there will be $5.9 million in tournament payout. Yet the anglers do not pay an entry fee. From the best I could gather from the website, it looks like there are about 50 organizations that are sponsors of Major League Fishing. Unless there's something I'm missing, that math just doesn't add up. I believe that Boyd Duckett is a pretty sharp businessman. I'm sure he's put a lot of time and effort into this equation. I do not see how that math works. Besides the $5.9 million in tournament payout, just from what I can gather on the MLF website, I count at least a couple dozen employees of Major League Fishing. The cost of, when you add in the cost of advertising, the cost to put one of these events together, the operating costs of Major League Fishing are gigantic. One of the platforms that Major League Fishing is built upon, and it's an idea shared by both the anglers and the masterminds of Major League Fishing, in order for the sport of professional bass fishing to grow, similar to professional golf, the PGA Tour, or NASCAR, interest in tournament bass angling has to also grow. Many organizations and entities over the past few years have attempted to increase participation in tournament fishing and sport fishing. Yet we're not experiencing anywhere near the growth we would need to see to move professional bass fishing in the same category as professional golf or NASCAR. There just isn't the same amount of interest. I am of the opinion that over the last decade, the increase in participation that we have seen in hunting and fishing has mostly been driven by YouTube and social media. A lot of the industry professionals don't like this trend, and they've bucked this trend because it's very difficult to generate revenue from this trend. In fact, one of the primary issues that I have with Major League Fishing part of the revenue structure of Major League Fishing is pay to play, so to speak. The primary outlets that are going to carry the Cup events and the World Championship event are the Outdoor Channel and My Outdoors TV. Both of these outlets are pay-to-view outlets. One of the best things that's happened to tournament bass fishing over the last decade is Bassmaster Live, or Bass Live. Bass Live has generated a ton of buzz over the last few years. One of the exciting things about Bass Live is that it's free. There are guys, myself included, who will spend 3-4 days on end glued to the computer screen watching Bass Live. But when the only outlet to watch Major League Fishing Cup events are pay-to-view outlets, I'm not likely to participate in watching that. I'm not a subscriber to the Outdoor Channel. I'm not a subscriber to My Outdoor TV. So I'm likely not going to have access to view Cup events until far after the fact, when they get picked up by secondary outlets. I believe the Discovery Channel is one of the secondary outlets that will cover MLF events after the fact. So my number one issue with Major League Fishing is the pay-to-view format. That in no way, shape, or form increases viewership, in my opinion. In no way, shape, or form does a pay-to-view format increase participation in our sport. Early on, one of my concerns with Major League Fishing and the Pro Bass Tour is that it would do harm to BASS or even FLW. But I'm starting to become more and more convinced that it will have very little effect on BASS and very little effect on the FLW. If you look at last week's tournament on Sam Rayburn and compare it to other January events from years past, there's no noticeable significant difference in the weights of the tournaments. The FLW still started this season with a full field of 170 anglers. The competition doesn't seem to be any less fierce. So I think MLF is going to have very little effect on the FLW Tour. As a reaction to the Pro Bass Tour, BASS has adopted a few changes for 2019, and I think they're going to prove to be pretty good changes. For starters, they've changed the payback structure. They've reduced entry fees and increased payback, which is going to be a good thing for their anglers. They've reduced the size of the tournament field, which is also going to be a good thing. There are still plenty of big-name anglers fishing with BASS. I don't believe it'll be any less exciting watching the first Elite Series tournament here in a couple weeks than any tournament in the past. Despite the dozens of big names that the Elite Series has lost to the Bass Pro Tour, I don't believe the St. John's event here in a couple weeks is going to be any less exciting than previous year's events. I am convinced that Bass Live is going to be just as exciting to watch on February 7th as it has been in years past. If you go to the Bassmaster website and you look at the 2019 Elite Series roster, you're going to find that there are still plenty of big sticks on that roster. The one thing that I noticed is that there is a few more guys this year that have come over from the FLW Tour, and it probably just made a lot of sense this year. Whether my concerns are warranted or not, whether the Bass Pro Tour is sustainable or not, all of that is pretty much irrelevant for 2019. For the 2019 tournament bass season, We are going to have far more TV coverage. We're going to have far more live coverage, and we're going to have more hours of tournament fishing available to us, the consumer. The Bassmaster Classic for 2019 is going to be a big one. Competition is going to be fierce, with a lot of these guys knowing that this is their last opportunity to fish the Classic, at least for the foreseeable future. I think there's going to be a lot of extra motivation for a lot of anglers to make this Classic a big one. I am super excited for the 2019 Bassmaster Classic. We're going to have, in 2019, we're going to have a lot of new blood in both BASS and FLW. Some of these rookies are going to be guys fresh out of the college trail. Some of them are going to be guys that have been pretty seasoned from the Opens trails, and they're just simply taking advantage of this opportunity to move into the Elite Trail or the FLW Trail. But either way, we're introducing a lot of new blood to the sport this year. Bass fishing in 2019, bass fishing competition in 2019 is going to be as fierce as ever. And there's going to be a lot more of it. Hey guys, thanks for watching another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. Hey, click that like button. Click on subscribe to see more videos from Team Jesus Outdoors. God bless, tight lines, we'll catch you guys on the water. Hey guys, leave us a comment in the comment box. Let us know, what are your thoughts on Major League Fishing? What do you think the ripple effect will be to bass fishing in general?